To me, I feel like I have the most success when talking about food and flavor,
Mm,
and health
mm,
and wellness. And it's always like with the intention of trying to get them into the garden. Um,
yeah,
that's always my approach.
yeah, yeah. I just think that there's these two ends. There's the process, the whole process of food. So there's the soil building first, and then there's the planting and the growing. A lot of weeding in there because we have these invasives like bindweed and Bermuda grass here that are absolute nightmares. So there's a lot of that. And then on the other end, you've got the harvesting and the cooking, right? It seems like people are most interested at these ends, right? They want to stay as far away from that weeding piece as possible, right? The farther you can get away from that, the better. And
Yeah.
so they're really interested in the K&F stuff and they're really interested in the cooking. But anything in the middle is like, I don't know about that. So I've been trying to focus on those ends and then figure out how to deal with the weeding. And, I really think these deep mulch beds are the answer. The only answer I've come up with that I like. And I'm just really not interested in doing it any other way at this point.
Yeah, this time of year, weeding is no joke. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
too
But
hot.
the deep
Yeah.
mulch beds that I built are weed free.
Heck yeah.
They're fine. Or there's just a tiny little bit and it's just like you just pluck it and you get the whole root, just like that whole root comes out because the mulch is literally that deep. That's what I want. That's what I want
Yeah.
in my gardens. And that's what I want to teach people and show people is possible. And even my little garden out in front of my house. So I live in an apartment and I just kind of took over right in front of the window and put a metal thing around it. And it's sand, just sand. And I just took my compost and I just dumped it out there and I planted a tomato plant the first year and I put tons and tons of mulch, all the leaves I could find from the neighborhood. I stacked up and got this thick on top of it. And that tomato plant grew huge, gigantic, a million cherry tomatoes. The next year I expanded it out just a little bit farther, did the same thing, added compost. I've got a black soldier fly bin that I do all my composting in. So I just dumped all that out at the end of the season, mixed it in, and then I put again this much mulch. Last year, last summer when we had that over 100-degree temperature for 2 months straight and it didn't rain at all, you know how many times I had to water that garden to keep my tomato plants alive? 5 times in 2 months with over 100 degrees the entire time because I've got that much mulch and that compost and I weed it once a year and all just around the edges. It doesn't come in. If you have enough mulch and you have enough nitrogen, then you're golden. You don't have to fight so much. But when you till up an entire acre and don't have enough compost and mulch to cover it, you're going to have problems. You're basically a grass farmer. You don't think you're a grass farmer, you think you're the opposite, but no, you're actually providing the perfect environment for grass because you don't have what you need for vegetables. So that's my piece. But you got
Um,
to have a proof of concept. I've been just trying to get to that proof of concept where I've got enough of these deep mulch beds. Like I have got a large area now under the fruit trees, and I can point at that and say, look at that. I haven't watered that at all, and it's doing great. Look at those plants, and look at that. I barely have to weed that. So I think we have to convince people that there's a way to do it that isn't having to spend 3 hours a day weeding.
promoting less labor intensive methods.
Yeah. And I know there is the plastic method that most vegetable farmers use, where they just use that landscaping, the thick black landscaping woven stuff that we were laying down. You poke holes in it, you put your plants in there. There is that method. But how good is that for the soil? Black plastic in 100-degree weather?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that
Uh,
is that good for the soil?
no, that's just solarizing the soil.
Yeah.
All you're doing is cooking everything out, all
Yeah.
the
And
veggies.
is that even good for your plants? Like I just don't see how that works.
Oh yeah, when people do that, no, I am anti what you're talking about, that black landscaping. To me,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense at all.